Before we dive deep into this next episode of the PA Wild Trout Chronicles, I wanted to quickly announce that as of now, the PA Migratory Wild Trout Petition I've been promoting, and that my buddy Eric Richard, as well as Russ Collins, a local president in one of my local Trout Unlimited chapters, has created, is now at 636 signatures. Please, if you haven't signed that petition yet, click that green button. Once you click the link in the description below to the petition, I really appreciate all of your support in helping expand these migratory wild trout throughout our warm water and cold water watersheds. Let's jump right into the next episode of the PA Wild Trout Chronicles. Almost fell. There goes one. There you go, guys. It's a nice fish. That's a nice fish. Wow, you see how light that take was, guys? That was a really light take. That's a really nice fish. Oh, yeah. Holy cow. You're kidding me. That's a nice fish. What? What? First fish of the day again, it's a nice fish. I don't know what's up. Last time I hit this stretch, first fish was an extremely nice fish. This is another extremely nice fish.
Maybe it's the same fish.
No, it's not. It's not the same hole. Look at that sucker. Wow. Oh, look out, Dad.
All right.
I don't want him running under your legs.
What did he take, the ant or the fly?
He took the dry fly, really light sip. That's a beauty. Wow. For this size stream, this is a very sizable resident brown trout. What beautiful colors on this fish. You good?
Yeah.
Oh, crap, there he goes. During this episode, my setup for today was a stimulator, and off of that I dropped a sunken ant, which absolutely kills during terrestrial season, which was this time of year, and man, it was just a ton of fun. We had a blast out there, and as I said, we got a ton of footage to show you guys, and really hope you enjoy this video series.
It blows me away that I'm watching fish feeding on the surface of this stream, where 25, 30 years ago, this was all brook trout. And I loved it back then, and they were so opportunistic because there was less food. But today, there are still brook trout here. They're much more difficult to catch. And I would attribute that, because they're easy to catch when they're opportunistic because there's no food, I would attribute their difficulty to being caught today as there's more food, simply. And they are more difficult to catch. They're still here. The relationship from brown trout to brook trout isn't a good one, but these fish that migrate in here and leave behind their offspring. And they're not here 365 days a year, these bigger fish.
All right, guys, there was a riser all the way at the tippy top of this pool. There he is. I was just talking about that riser too. That was great. That was perfect. That's fall fish. That's another fall fish.
That's a fall fish.
Oh, that's a brookie.
Yes! Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, right.
That's a beauty brookie. That's a beautiful brookie. Wow.
There's a brookie.
Look at that. Pretty little guy.
That's
little native. That's awesome.
That's a brookie.
Mashed it.
Yeah,
Eric just hooked another one.
This is a fall fish.
Oh.
This is a fall fish.
That's a still.
Fall fish, right in the same spot. Look at the size.
Look at the size of that sucker. Oh my gosh.
Watch. You want me to demonstrate that unhooking technique again?
Yeah, why not?
Yes, why not? All right. Well, I mean, if you want to do the grip and grin, you can do the grip and grin, you know.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
see,
boy.
he don't want to cooperate.
Oh,
These
yeah.
fish don't. These aren't trout. They're floppy as. They are.
Yeah.
Ah, look at. See, look at him.
my
I mean, he
God.
will not calm down.
Oh.
He's hooked in the bottom jaw. I can tell where he's hooked. I want to see right where the hooks are. It's a bad place. Could be near gills. I want to control that mouth. I want to get an idea where that hook is. I'm feeling for it. There it is. I'm pushing against my fingernail. Now these things have big gummy lips. Big gummy lips. So they're hard to get out. You got to really work hard at it. No damage. Doesn't seem to be any damage. Looks good. There you go, buddy. And sometimes they're more heavily.
See how I kick my line forward on before you pick it up?
Yeah.
Are you using that technique?
Oh, that's a nice cast. There you go. There you go. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Yeah, you hooked a big one. They love that ant.
Wow. All right, I think we should switch to an ant now. That was crazy. Oh my gosh.
You better get ready. Better watch out.
Yeah. Johnny's coming for you.
I knew when that ant went down.
Oh yeah.
I kind of figured it was a good fish.
The fly being the greatest indicator. It's so cool.
They are loving that ant. Awesome. That is awesome.
This is pretty as the last one.
Wow. Look at that sucker. That is a pretty fish right there. Out of a small stream like this, it's nothing like it.
That's a challenge to catch. That is a great job.
Oh my gosh, that was nuts. That was a nice
Out of the
jump.
water 2.5, 3 feet, wasn't
I don't know what it looked like
My
to you.
gosh,
I got
that was
like,
nuts.
he? He was up there.
We'll watch the video and
Yeah.
we'll determine from the video who's right. But I got that high. What do you got? Put your hand
I
out.
don't know.
He went up.
You'll go that high?
Yeah, I'll go
Where are you going? Where are you going?
No, like Navy there.
Wait a minute, I'm there. I'm
A
there.
little bit higher.
Wow, okay, and you're a little lower? All right, well, and then watch the video and see if
Yeah.
see who's closer. Car marks.
Oh yeah.
See the car marks? This is a young fish. See how much bigger it is than a resident fish? A resident fish at this size would be much older.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is a very young fish. Look at the eye, look at the youth. It's a young fish. He's the offspring of movement. He's not a resident. Offspring, you wouldn't have par marks at that size. They're genetically superior. The resident fish will mature almost at that size on a lot of streams and actually be sexually mature. This one just has par marks.
In relation to my last episode of the PA Wild Trout Chronicles, some people were confused on the difference between the resident and the migratory brown trout. Let Eric explain a little more in detail about the main difference between the two. Okay.
What we're talking about is the difference between the Loch Levin strain and the black
Yeah.
forest strain. Well, as it was described in the books, it was silvery and had black
Right.
spots. And the key characteristic that separates the two, which requires a relationship to the fish itself within its watershed, is movement, actually.
Right.
That's the one thing that really separates them. So brown trout literally is the fish that can change its own spots.
Okay.
It's a leopard that can change its spots because it's so adaptable.
Right.
It's so amazingly adaptable, it's so genetically plastic that when a population separates from the mover and is now becomes a resident to an ecology anywhere in the world over time, thousands of years, maintaining separation from the movers to the residents, thousands of years, they do it on their own. By changing their diets, what they eat and how they move and where they spend their time feeding and stuff like that, times of the year when they spawn too. They adapt to a smaller environment. That stream is smaller, there's less things to adapt to, less variables, and they adapt so acutely to each one because they're so adaptable. They mold to it so much that they change in appearance so much that it's created the argument of subspecies labeling versus lumping in genetics from taxonomists to go all the way back to Gunther and Widegreen before they even came here. And they're still fighting about them today. So it's a complicated conversation to have. And it's hard to get people to that line of thinking. But so appearance is hard to go solely from. It's actually the movement that separates the two.
Next time on the PA Wild Trout Chronicles.
I've had the benefit in my life of fishing over population of brown trout that were once introduced as fingerlings from the federal fish hatchery. Were never stocked directly over from that point forward, so they've been adapting to the ecology, and they had strong genetic diversity, and they had the characteristic of migration and running and moving. The thing that's important to know is that trout evidence by its size. It's 20 inches. It looks to be about,
Yeah.
2.5, 3 pounds. I don't know, but it looks like it's in that league. This is on a stream that has been deemed so acidic.
Yeah.
That the stock brook trout weren't surviving on it, so they stopped stocking it over 20 years ago, I think now. There's a brown trout that's less tolerant of acidity, that's over 20 inches long and heavy, in a stream that is a recovering stream that doesn't have a lot of macroinvertebrates or food.